Hi everyone, my name is Zoe and welcome back to another video. Today we will be discussing my tips and tricks about how to help your baby develop a good sleep routine and good habits. Gosh, I cannot say that for the life of me. I've tried 5 times. This is the best you're gonna get. So me and my husband have been working with our daughter to create healthy sleep habits for as long as I can remember. I remember trying to start at 4 months and realizing that she was way too young, and I just kind of accepted that we weren't there in our journey yet. So to give a little bit disclaimers, our daughter is almost in a week, 2 weeks she'll be 7 months, and so we've been trying to sleep train her since she's been 4 months. So it didn't work at 4 months and it didn't work at 5 months, but it definitely started to really take shape around 6 months. I definitely think we've started with the learning blocks of ourselves at 5 months, and then they kind of slowly started rolling over to when our daughter was ready at 6 months. These were made because I was starting to have a lot of resentment around sleep time. I was really struggling. I was really tired. It was something that I was just really upset about. And I was like, she should be sleeping through the night. I was just so tired. Or taking 3 hours to go to sleep. So it was really starting to create a little bit of resentment, which is fully on me. But me and my husband sat down and we talked about our goals, and this is what really started happening for our family. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is that Vienna is a textbook baby. The doctors have said it, friends and family have said it. She has always been a decent sleeper from the very beginning. She had some really bad gas there for a while when she was a newborn, but which made sleeping a little tricky. But for the most part, textbook baby. You read a textbook, you look at Vienna, same thing. So I want to start with having a routine. I tried getting in with a routine right away when she was 4 months old, and again, way too young. They will sleep when they are wanting to. They'll be up when they want to. Their bodies don't understand. They're starting to figure it out. I thought there was going to be a huge switch. There wasn't. So what really worked for us was around 6 months when we moved into this house, we started a very strict drill sergeant schedule, and eventually that will be more relaxed, but we will hopefully have established some good routines and cues that will help her sleep through the night or go down a little bit easier. First did was start waking up at 8 o'clock. Every day we wake up at 8 o'clock. I say that with a grain of salt because some days it's 8:30, but around 8 o'clock. There's an 8 in front of it. We don't wake up at 9 or the schedule's frick. Our routine is that she gets a nap at 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. If she wakes up earlier, she will not be going down earlier. Her next nap is scheduled to be at 2 o'clock. So if she is exhausted and she is wanting to go down at 1:20, good luck, girlie. She will not be going down for a nap. I will just hang on to her reins, those things, until it's 2 o'clock. I will not cater to her waking up earlier, and I think that is what's really helped us establish an actual routine. Before, I would feel really guilty, and I was like, oh, she's just so tired though, and I'm so tired. But since I just suck it up for a week, we've really seen the fruits of our labor. The next thing that helped is keeping her awake. So she has a 2-hour nap and an hour nap. It was 2 hours, but then we were seeing a lot of kickback at bedtime. So you have to figure out what works best for your kid. Is it an hour and a half nap, a 2-hour nap? Is it a 45-minute nap in the afternoon, or is it a 2-hour nap in the afternoon? So really catering what your nap schedule looks like for each child. So this is what works for us. We do a 2-hour and a 45 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour and 30, and then sometimes it's an hour, so not a 45. But that's kind of what it looks like for us. The next thing that we do is watch for sleep cues. So that's what we were trying to figure out when she was going down for a nap. Now we know she goes down for 10 o'clock until 12 o'clock, or like her nap is at 2 o'clock, because I was paying attention to her cues, and around the time of her cues, I would pick her up, and her cue is she's rubbing her face repeatedly. I won't acknowledge the first one or like the second one, but by the third one, after she's done it a few times, I'm like, okay, this is serious. It's not she just got food in her eyes or she got scratched her eyes or something. So then that's when we'll start our transition. So she gets, in the morning time, she gets changed. So I leave her in her PJs until her first nap, just because we're eating as well. But then she will get into her PJs and get out of her PJs, do a bum change, put her in the sleep sack, and then put her awake in the crib. Yeah, she didn't love it the first time it happened. However, what we did was try to not pick her up when she was frustrated crying. There's a difference between crying, like she would need like pick her up crying, and a frustration crying. In our household, we believe that frustration is the key to learning a new skill. When I'm frustrated, do I give up? No, I pursue and keep trying. And so that's kind of the vibe that we've given to our child, but as well as acknowledging when to pick her up. So me and my husband, we decide at different points when we are going to pick her up. He might have a different timeline for her. I might have a different timeline for her. It's really, we have to pick her up after 10 minutes of crying. It's whenever we feel like she needs us, kind of thing. So what we do instead for those frustration things is that we flip her onto her side and we pat her back and we give her a lovey. So the lovey is a very cool thing, because once your child is able to move things, and pretty much when they start rolling around their crib is kind of around the time that you can probably give her a stuffy. I'm not a health practitioner, I do not, but these are what we do, and this is what I feel safe with, and other moms that I've talked to. But if this is not something that you're comfortable with, please do not give them, because I said so. We give her a lovey, and we put the lovey right between her arms, we pat her back a few times, and then we walk away. She will cry. However, we give her a couple minutes of frustration crying. I was just like, yeah, it's frustrating. Mom's leaving. I don't want her to leave. But we know that she needs to develop these safe sleep habits of putting herself to sleep, and which helps her self-soothe throughout the night, which gives us the longer timelines of sleep. So that's what we kind of started with, and it slowly built over time. And now my husband was able to put her down yesterday within like 2 minutes. It was insane. It was so quick. And then other days though, 3 days ago, it took about an hour to put her down. These are things that that's a disclaimer right there, is that not every day is going to be the same. A 3-year-old is probably going to be waking up throughout the night just as much as a newborn would on some occasions. It's just the way life is and what kids need. So the next topic that I wanted to talk to you about is safe sleep. So we use a lovey. So a lovey is a stuffy with a blanket attached to it, and we use one that's super duper soft, so then she like can feel it on her face and stuff, which is great for her, because we've acknowledged and practiced putting things on her face for her to take off. Put something on her face, take off. And I remember when we first introduced the lovey, I was very nervous because she would like leave it on her face, and I would have to go in there take it off. But after a while, and after she's gotten so much older, she really just likes to be pushed up against the lovey. So again, it's really up to you and what you're comfortable with and what you know your child is capable of. The next thing is when your baby starts to roll, you have to unswaddle them give them their hands initially. So that's when we go into sleep sacks. So one thing that we've noticed with our baby is that she likes the room a little bit hotter than the whole house. So we have a space heater in there that has a temperature gauge that warms her room about a degree or two hotter than the entire house. And that we found helps because she was a co-sleeper for the longest times, and under that blanket, it's warm. Like, she's cozy. So we've noticed that that really helps her stay sleep longer. So this is a sleep sack that doesn't have any arms. So these are really good if these are really great. And this one's a fleece one. It would be awesome if it had like some arms because of how warm it is. This is a really good one. And then the next one is one that we used all the time. This one is just like a very thin blanket. However, it's a thin blanket throughout her entire body. It has sleeves. So, and a zipper. The zipper is kind of cool. This one had the Velcro, but I noticed that after a while, especially this one secondhand, the Velcro stopped working. But this one has the arms and a zipper. Pretty freaking cool. Yeah, take a little peek of all the different sleep sacks and figure out what ones work best for you. I really enjoyed having a bunch of different ones to try, but I will say that these are what I will be using for my future children. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is fighting through it. We used a little bit more of the fibro sleep transition. That thing. It's when you put a baby down and you leave them for 2 minutes, then you come back and calm them down, give them 2 minutes, calm them down. And I know a lot of families don't like to when they let their babies cry themselves to sleep, but we look at it differently. Like, she's not crying for endless hours by herself in a scary dark room. We're giving her opportunity to try to self-soothe herself, to show her that she is okay and mom and dad will always come back. It is okay to feel frustrated. It is okay to feel like it's not working. It's okay to cry. It's okay to hold your baby. It's okay to pick them up when you think they need to be picked up. It's okay to let them cry if you think they need to cry. You are not a bad parent for doing that. All right, so wake ups during the night. So one thing that I have noticed for sure was the no picking up baby to soothe. If she needs us, unless she needs us bad, we'll pick her up. But for the most part, we'll go in there and tap her back and like, it's okay, baby, like, shh. And one night she was losing her absolute mind, and I was like, okay, like, she needs to be picked up, right? So I picked her up, and she really wanted to suck on the boobies, or she probably would, like another baby would want a bottle. So she wanted to nurse, and I just wouldn't let her, and she was so angry. But I was holding her. I let her flail. I knew she was full. She had just eaten dinner an hour ago and had milk. Like, she was full. Like, I know she can go 5 hours because I've known that she's done it before. So I know that it was more of a self-soother method of feeling frustrated. She was probably overtired. We had a bad day of naps that day. So I just kind of held on, and that's what happened. So and we saw huge results of not allowing her to drink when she was self-soothing. So that kind of goes into my next topic, is encouraging self-soothing and limit to one nighttime feed if you can. After 6 or 7 months, you can go down to one feeding or none. But if you're up were like us when they were waking up 4 times a night, I transitioned to about 2 and then down to 1. Right now, we go back and forth between 1 and 2. It really depends on maybe she's growing or just needs a little bit more food. But whenever I go in there, if it hasn't been longer than 5 hours during the night, I try my best not to offer the boob, give her the soother, tap her back. But if she is relentless and no, I need something, then I'll pull it out and do maybe 2-3 hours. Yeah. So the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is honestly the last 3. And thanks for holding on if you're still here about these sleep habits. This has definitely been a one-to-one conversation, and I hope that you are getting some things out of it. is a noise machine. We have a noise machine built into our baby monitor and we hate it. It was great at first, but we've really noticed that it really helps. So when we go into the city in a couple days, we are going to be picking up one. So the noise machine is amazing. Get one because it just allows them, and even if it's just on quiet, I think it helps them not feel so alone. A dark room. So we put tinfoil on the windows and it's just permanently dark in there. It will probably be permanent dark the entire time we live in this house. She doesn't play in there unless she is transitions to be wanting to play in her room. I can't see us taking off the tinfoil in her room because it's so blackout and it's so nice. And then the last one, again, I cannot stress this enough, is learning the difference between a frustration cry and I need you mom cry. A frustration cry is where they learn the skills the most. And it's so hard to watch your child be frustrated, but it is so incredibly important to allow them to struggle, to allow them to grow. Yeah. Well, that is my hacks and tips and tricks of how we got our 7-month-old baby pretty much sleeping through the night. We go back and forth right now to sleeping through the night or waking up once to feed. So, yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope that you got some things out of it. I know it was a huge talking video, so if you're still here, I really appreciate it. Yeah, well, have a wonderful rest of your day. Good luck, mamas. You guys are going to be doing great. And remember, always remember that this too shall pass. And your baby will eventually sleep through the night. Just like any other things, your baby will eventually crawl. Your baby will eventually walk. And your baby will eventually run. So with all of that, they will eventually sleep through the night. So don't give up. Okay, well, have a wonderful rest of your day.